The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available on Amazon.
The Mike Wagner Show, also brought to you by The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, available on Amazon, highlighting the Book of David.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia, Missing, available on Amazon, paperback and ebook, coming soon, Missing 2, Double Suspense, Double of Fun. Check it out on Amazon. We're also brought to you by Sweet Psalms by Serena Wagner, based life of David Killing Threes, Quiz of Pains and Kingdom of Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalms Serena Wagner. Also check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com and link to the Mike Wagner Show, 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok today. We're here with an amazing lady who's an award-winning novelist and professor emeritus of Spanish literature at Georgetown University, plus literary critic and essayist. She's won numerous awards for her works, attended UCLA and in French literature, and also University of Paris through the Middlebury graduate program, PhD at New York University in Spanish, and also has a new book inspired by the life of a legendary actress, a Hollywood star, and a story about perseverance and also dedication as well too. The book is called Miss Del Rio. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from Plus Studios somewhere in beautiful Southern Florida, the amazing award-winning novelist, professor emeritus, and also literary critic, essayist, and got the book Miss Del Rio, the multi-talented Barbara Mujica. Barbara, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well too. So you're an award-winning novelist. You're professor emeritus at Spanish literature at Georgetown University, plus literary critic and essayist. You won numerous awards for your works. You attended UCLA and studied French literature, University of Paris through Middlebury Graduate School, and also a PhD at New York City. And also you have a new book inspired by the life of legendary actress, Hollywood star Dolores Del Rio, and a story about perseverance, identity, reinvention, also challenges faced when pursuing the dream. The book is called Miss Del Rio. Before I get into that, Barbara, tell us how you first got started.
Well, Miss Del Rio is about Dolores Del Rio, who was Hollywood's first Latina star. She was Mexico's first international movie star. She came to Hollywood at a very propitious moment. She was very fortunate in that she came in the 20s when Hollywood was actually looking for a female Latin lover. Movie stars until then had been blonde, blue-eyed, people like Clara Bow and Gloria Swanson and Lillian Gish. And of course, movies were in black and white. You couldn't see the coloring of the artists, but you knew that they were light-skinned. But what happened is in 1921, Rudolph Valentino, who was Italian, came to Hollywood and made The Shake. And it was an immediate success. He made tons and tons of money for Paramount Pictures. And then all the studios wanted their own Latin lover. So the first male Latin lover to follow him was Ramon Novarro, who was Lola's, well, I'll call her Lola. Dolores Del Rio was known by her, to her friends as Lola. And after all these years, I think I'm her friend.
It sounds like you have a profoundness of her, too. It makes me like her friend, too.
Yeah, and she's mine, too. And my dog is named Lola, too, by the way.
Interesting.
So, Ramon was an immediate star. He was extremely handsome, and he starred in all of these movies. And then Lola came to Hollywood, and she was exactly what the movie studios were looking for. They were looking for someone who was absolutely beautiful, uh,
Hmm.
but who fit the bill as a Latin lover, but a female Latin lover. And she was actually voted by a so-called panel of experts as the most beautiful woman in the world. Experts that were directors and producers and lawyers and doctors and all kinds of men, of course, all men. And they voted her the most beautiful woman, not the most beautiful woman in Hollywood, but the most beautiful woman in the whole world.
I'd
And
rather have that title than Hollywood, to be honest with you.
well, here she is. If you can see her, I don't know. Can you see her?
Okay, maybe raise up a little bit. Oh my goodness. She is very beautiful.
Yeah,
Not just Hollywood, the world. And you are so right.
she was absolutely gorgeous. Here's another one.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing. Gorgeous.
yeah. So here's one more.
Stunning.
Yeah,
Very stunning.
she was a stunning woman, and she became an almost immediate success. And not only in the in the movies, but also she became a fashion icon. She was in all the magazines. Everybody wanted to be like Lola, and and everybody was in love with Lola. It would seem that it was very easy for her, but of course, there were lots of obstacles.
Hmm. And there are plenty of obstacles as well too. And of course we covered as well too a little bit. You overcame the barriers, and maybe talk about some of the obstacles. It doesn't have to do all of them, but maybe just a few obstacles. And how did she manage to overcome them? Maybe we can all learn from this.
Well, so the first thing was that when Lola was a young girl, she was married at 16 to her parents' choice, Jaime del Rio. Del Rio was his name, uh, and he was much older than she. She was 16. He was in his 30s. He was a very uh, sophisticated, from her perspective, a very sophisticated man, uh, reputedly gay, but very wealthy. And so,
Mm.
from the parents, this is right after the Mexican Revolution. A lot of the wealthy families lost a lot of money. The Del Rio family managed to hang on to their property, uh, but a lot of families lost their holdings, and so he was a good catch. She married him, and after they were married, she got pregnant and had a miscarriage, and that miscarriage left her unable to bear children
Oh my gosh.
in the future. So in the 20s, for a Mexican girl, an upper class girl, or any girl, to not be able to, have a family, be a mother, was a real tragedy. But she picked herself up and she took up creative dancing. Isadora Duncan was very popular at the time, and uh, she was discovered by Edwin Carraway, who was a Hollywood producer, or director and producer, and he brought her and Jaime to Hollywood. So, of course, the first obstacle was that she was in a foreign country. She had to learn a new language. She spoke some English, but she wasn't fluent. And she really worked at it. She took it very seriously. The same way she took her movie scripts or everything. She took things seriously, and she worked hard at learning English. She really didn't need it to act because movies were silent in those
Hmm.
days. But she knew that she needed it to survive, and of course, talkies were coming. So that was the first obstacle that she met. She came to a new country. She had to learn a new culture. She didn't have all of the things that she had in Mexico. She didn't have maids and servants and a big house and all of that. But she adapted. Um, and then she was quite successful, but in 1927, talkies were introduced. And that was a big obstacle for a lot of Hollywood people because a lot of them didn't have voices that really fit their screen persona. They didn't have good speaking voices, or some of them, Charlie Chaplin, for example, stammered. He never wanted to make talkies. Eventually he did, but he resisted because he didn't feel comfortable talking
Mm.
in front of the public. So uh, Lola got by that very cleverly by always playing foreigners. She made her accent work for her. She played
Mm.
uh, she played French women, she played Russians, she played a Brazilian, she played whatever foreigner she could. And the American audience at that time was not so discerning when it came to accents. So the difference between a Russian accent and a French accent, they were not picking up on it. So or not caring. Uh,
Right. It's like we just want to see entertainment. We don't care. We don't see a pretty face, right?
right, right. So it didn't matter. So her career went on until the 30s. But what happened in the 30s was the American public began to be very cautious, very xenophobic, because um in Germany we were beginning to see we were beginning to see the Nazis come
Mm.
to power, and in the Soviet Union we were seeing Stalinism. And so the American public, I think now when I talk about this, people say, "Oh, well, that was so silly. People overreacted." But I think that if you put yourself in the place of the people then, and you saw and heard the stories about what was happening in Germany, and you maybe read about Kristallnacht, and or saw the newsreels, and then at first stories about the starvation campaign of Stalin didn't come out of the United States, but when they eventually started coming out, people were terrified. People were terrified that the communists would take over, and um, they were especially suspicious of Mexicans because the Mexican Revolution was very left-leaning. And if you look at the paintings of Diego Rivera, they're full of hammers and sickles and all kinds of communist symbolism and banners on the top that have um, communist sayings on them. And so Mexicans were, they people were suspicious of Mexicans. And so Lola found herself on the poison list
I,
that she was
I
boxed
think
off as
I think
poison.
I think was it like blacklist or something like that?
Yeah, they call them box office poison. And so
Ah,
she and Navarro and a lot of American stars, and also other
hmm.
foreigners. So things became very difficult for foreigners, and
Hmm.
a time came when she couldn't get uh, good roles. She could hardly get any roles. It was a hard time for her because not only did she feel that her career was fading, but at the time she was married to Cedric Gibbons, who was an art designer, set designer, um, and he was extremely successful. He designed the Oscar, the little statue,
Oh yes, the beloved Oscar. Uh-huh.
and he was extremely successful. His career was on the rise. He was doing really well. He was winning Oscars himself, and
Nice.
she wasn't getting roles, and she felt uh, that her career was falling apart. When the war started, when we became involved in the war after Pearl Harbor, um, foreign movie stars they took different tacks. Marlene Dietrich, who was Lola's friend, uh, gave up her German citizenship and went to work for the USO. Uh, Marlene Dietrich was a really interesting character. And unfortunately, I don't have time now to talk because I could talk about her for hours. She is a fascinating character, but
Hmm.
but what one of the things that is uh, very uh, noteworthy is that Goebbels approached her about making. He wanted her to make, not Hitler wanted her to make German propaganda films, and
Mm.
she was taking her life in her hands by saying no. I mean, you didn't say
She's
no.
like, no. Psh.
Yeah, but you didn't say no to these people. She said no to these people. She took American citizenship, gave up her German citizenship, and went to work for the USO, and went to
Smart
work
move.
entertaining American and British soldiers, and sometimes behind the lines. She did. I mean, she was very brave. Uh, Wild in all kinds of ways, but she would entertain the troops, and that was that I mean, it was quite amazing what she did.
Eh,
Greta Garbo gave up her career and she went back to Sweden and hardly made any pictures after that. So, but Lola, um, they used to call her mother the cat, La Gata, because she always landed on her all 4 feet, right? And Lola was the same. She always landed on all 4 feet. So she knew Frida Kahlo and she knew Diego Rivera. So she went back to Mexico.
hmm
She was not happily married. She was having an affair with Orson Welles. Uh, but Orson Welles, there was no future in that. Orson Welles he was on drugs. He was an actually he was a brilliant, brilliant director, but a nasty man. So
Right. Yes. I was gonna get back to Orson Welles in a minute. This question, came up in my mind when Dolores, had her roles fitting and everything like that with the whole the communism thing, the propaganda. Was she directly questioned by any of the authorities regarding her political views or anything like that? Was she ever questioned?
and she wasn't. The studios got her out of it. So
Really?
yeah.
She was never questioned.
She
That's a shock.
so these big stars, the studios wanted, they wanted their stars protected, and
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
yeah, and they pull and Ramon wasn't questioned. The studios took care of her. Um, she got out of that, and then she went to Mexico, and because and she was happy to be in Mexico for a number of reasons. In the States, she had made a lot of really silly films. We were in the 30s, the late 20s, the early and the 30s. We had just, we were in the Depression. In the 30s, this country was in the Depression, and then the war was looming. People wanted escapism. They wanted to laugh. They wanted
Hmm.
entertained. They wanted funny films. So, I've seen her films. They are certifiably ridiculous.
Something, it's almost like reality TV we see these days, like these America's Funniest Videos, stupid stunts, everything like that, lighting yourself on fire, or like, a cat biting you, think it's funny. I mean, you think about it's like that stuff probably did is probably either tame or something we couldn't accomplish. I was thinking about that. Maybe I should try a 30s ridiculous film one day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were silly. Some of them were artistic. So she did Flying Down to Rio, um, with Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. That was
Hmm.
the movie that introduced them as a pair. I mean, it's certainly an entertaining movie. It's silly in that, I mean, you have a plane scene on a plane where you have all these chorus girls on the wings dancing on the wings, and
Oh,
you think of
yes.
I work with veterans and I work with pilots. So when I think of my pilots and I see this scene, oh my God. But
Dancing on a plane, it's like, it makes you think of Esther Williams and all the pool routines and everything. Try that on a plane.
Right. So this was similar, and obviously it wasn't a real plane, but they were on the wings, and in their little chorus girl outfits and dancing and their routine. But that's the kind of film that she was making, and she thought that they were silly films, and then the Hays Code was introduced. The Hays Code was introduced so that the movie industry would police itself. There were a lot of complaints. There were a lot of complaints throughout the country that the film industry had gotten so immoral. There was so much lewdness and vulgarity, that there needed to be some kind of control, and so that the government didn't impose controls, the film industry actually imposed controls on itself. So once that happened, a lot of the kinds of movies that Lola made, which were kind of silly and cute, but had a lot of off-color kind of jokes and things like that.
Right. Yes.
And that all had to go. And I mean, so those films weren't even being made. So she called her last really big film in the States was called Madame du Barry, and it was I mean, it was a sexy film, and the Hays Commission, that was when they first came in, they cut out all the sexy innuendo.
Right, that makes sense, and that's where Jack Valenti stepped in with the rating system: G, PG,
Right.
R, X, and I added a 13.
Yeah. She said that they actually destroyed the film. She said they were sexy. It was sexy, but it was cute.
Right.
Not,
Right, we do get the idea. Of course, there are scandals around, and you talk about Frida, basically a tumultuous relationship between Frida and Diego as well, too. We'll get to that in a minute, along with other works with Barbara Mujica from Miss Del Rio. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SoundGrab Studios. Visit online at soundgrabstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SoundGrab Studios is the answer. SoundGrab Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@soundgrabstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. SoundGrab Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon, paperback, and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and though will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon, paperback, and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews. In Eva Lemon endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Expense, Double of Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by a Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 Quiz of Pains and Kingdom of Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives new perspective of David through Psalms he wrote. His time as shepherd started and complicated yet turn relation with King Saul. It's the story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and Linktree at the Mike Wagner Show. 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Apple Music, BitChute, Realm, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. Take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, the Mike Wagner Show, and also subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, Spreaker, or your favorite podcast platform today. We're here with the amazing multi-talented award-winning novelist, Professor Emeritus of Spanish Literature at Georgetown University, Barbara Mujica, here on the Mike Wagner Show. We cover the book Miss Del Rio. We also had some books like I Am Venus, Imagining Iraq Stories, Sister Teresa, but you have a book called Frida. Let's hear about that. You've got some breaking news for us as well.
Right. Okay. Well, Frida is about Frida Kahlo. It was my first big novel. I had a novel before that, but it was published by a small press, and it didn't. Uh, uh, it got really it got really good reviews. But Frida has been published in 18 languages, and the latest language is Portuguese. It was published just a few days ago in Portuguese.
Oh, can you bring up a little closer here? Oh, that's beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, and the original in English, they're all of my books are available on Amazon. So you're
Okay.
okay.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah,
Yes.
so Amazon or Barnes and Noble or directly from the publisher. But um, so Frida is was a kind of a surprise novel in the sense that I was teaching uh, Latin American culture, and of course Diego Rivera is a big part of it. The Mexican Revolution is a big part of it, and the art of the Mexican Revolution includes Diego Rivera, and all the books and all of the materials that I was using mentioned Diego Rivera, and nobody was talking about Frida. And at that time, uh, Hayden Herrera's um, biography of Frida Kahlo came out, and when I read it, I thought, this character, this person would make a wonderful character. Uh, so I was teaching full time, and I was writing as much as I could. But when I had a family, and I was teaching a full load, and so I was doing all the things that professors do. People basically think the professors go in and teach their classes and go home and do nothing else. But that's what my students used to think. They used to. Yeah,
That
why
well,
don't you?
Mike, everybody thinks like
Yeah,
that.
why don't you?
Everybody. Thank you, social media.
Yeah. Well, why don't you get our papers back? What do you have to do except teach us? But of course, there are endless committee meetings and uh, papers to correct, and then PhD thesis uh, to direct, and just loads and loads of things that have to be done. So I was kind of doing it in bits and pieces, but then one summer I went to a writers conference, the Aspen Writers Conference, and I met an agent, and he said, and I showed him parts of the book, what I had done, and he said, "Oh, this is really good. I really want you to finish it." So then I had an incentive to read it, and I mean to finish it, and so my department chair was not supportive at all. He wanted me to go to meetings and write articles, and we're supposed to write lots and lots of articles that are published in journals and all of that. So uh, he but I said I have to finish this novel. So I finished the novel, and I sent it to the agent, and he said, I'm not even going to consider this because I mean, this was 20 years ago, right? He said, because we already have a Spanish last name on our list.
Mm.
And that was what he wanted, just one. So I actually was not upset because I thought, okay, now the novel is done, and uh, and I will send it to agents. And so I did send it to an agent, and she got it. She got it published almost right away. First, it was accepted
Uh,
by a German publisher, then by a Spanish publisher, and then by an American publisher. But
wow.
yeah, it came out right away, and it came out in 18 languages. The other thing that happened that was an incentive to get this done was I had gone to, there was a lot of bickering in my department, a lot of fighting, and there was actually a lawsuit in my department. And so
Oh
I
my goodness.
so I went to a religious retreat, because a Jesuit retreat, because and the reason I went was that it was going to be a silent retreat, and I thought, okay, silence. I was really looking forward to a week of silence. But you do talk to a spiritual director for 20 minutes every day. And during that time, I said, I'm writing this novel, but my department chair doesn't like it, and he doesn't want me to write novels. And he told me when I came up for full professor not to put it on my CV and not to even mention it, and to keep it. It should.
Oh my gosh. Sounds
That's
like sounds like a control freak, to be honest with you.
So, so this Jesuit priest said to me, he said, "Look, you're old enough to do whatever the hell you want. Just go ahead and do it."
I'm with you. I'm with you. We're at that point.
Yeah. So I said, well, I don't know. I said it's about a very naughty lady, and he said, well, he said if there were no naughty ladies, we wouldn't have any good novels. So, uh,
That's coming from a Jesuit priest. I love it.
so okay, so the novel got written, and I think people always ask why I wrote Miss Del Rio, but I really got interested in Dolores Del Rio when I started doing the research on Frida. Frida was I think she was a very insecure person. She had polio as a child, and then she was in a bad accident as a teenager that left her uh, limping. Well, she was limping because of the polio, but then she had this bad accident and left her sterile. And she needed to attract attention. She always had to be the center of attention. She always had to um, use vulgar language and say brazen things and dress in an unusual way. Uh, People say, well, she wore those long Tijuana dresses to cover up her orthopedic shoe because she limped, and I think that was certainly part of it in the beginning. But afterwards, uh, I think she liked dressing differently because I think it really uh, drew attention to her, and she had all these fancy headdresses uh, and exotic jewelry and all of these things. And but she was very vulgar. She loved to use vulgar language. She loved to draw vulgar pictures. She would go to somebody's house in the United States, and on the way out, she would say something like "go to hell" or worse. And then when the woman was totally mortified, she would say, "Oh, I thought that meant good evening in English."
What? Oh my goodness. Wow.
So that was she and Diego Rivera. They love to do things like that. Lola, who was her friend and who was painted by Diego Rivera, was completely the opposite. Lola was elegant, uh, decorous. She had a great deal of respect. She was sophisticated. She dressed in a sophisticated way. Um, she drew attention to herself because she was beautiful and well spoken,
Hmm.
not because she was vulgar. And I thought that the contrast was interesting. But Frida was an interesting character also because uh, having suffered so much physically, she was absolutely fascinated. She wanted to be a doctor. She had originally wanted to be a doctor.
Okay. Hmm.
Uh, and then there are all kinds of political problems that arose in Mexico after the revolution, and there were all these protests in the streets, and it wasn't safe. And she was just recovering from her traffic accident, and she was not able to go back to the university, and so that's when she took up painting. But at that point, she couldn't continue with her medical studies. But she was very knowledgeable about the body, and she was fascinated with her own. And if you look at Frida's paintings, she has one self-portrait after the other, and she actually chronicles in painting her own physical degeneration. Uh,
Mm.
she becomes more and more incapacitated. She has to wear this horrible corset uh, to hold her back
Oh
straight,
my gosh.
and it was very, very uncomfortable. And towards the end of her life, she developed gangrene in one of her legs and had to have it amputated.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, so this is a woman who really uh, did suffer, and she managed to convert her suffering into something positive by painting and
Okay.
painting and creating paintings that were uh, sometimes very hard to look at. I mean, if you really look at her paintings and you realize what's happening, she has paintings that are where she makes herself almost into a Christ figure with a crown of thorns with blood and this.
Mm. Almost like crucifixion around Easter time, where it's just like, die for our sins and placed on. So I understand that.
Yeah, yeah. And then you see her towards the end of her life, she was divorced from Diego. Then they remarried. But at the time when she was separated from Diego, she painted this painting where she's cut off all of her hair. He loved her hair, so she cut off all of her hair, and she's wearing a man's suit, and she's in a desert, and she's completely abandoned. And her paintings often show loneliness, abandonment. She had a number of miscarriages. She actually painted her own miscarriage.
Oh my gosh.
You see, uh, uh, she's got a painting called My Birth, and it's her birth. She's being born, so apparently it's kind of ambiguous. The person, the woman giving birth is her mother, or is it herself? But anyhow, you see the woman with her legs splayed, and the baby coming out, but the baby is dead, and there's blood all over the place, and there's all these symbols of death all around, and everything is empty. And she's lonely, she's frightened, she's uh, depressed. She's just had a miscarriage. Frida, she, on the one hand, she was annoying.
Hmm.
I can understand this. The narrator of this story is Frida's sister, um,
Okay.
Christina. So when I started writing Frida, I was looking for a way to tell the story. I started telling the story just in the third person, and I felt I wrote a number of chapters, and I just felt it wasn't working. What I really needed was it was turning into a biography, and that was
Hmm.
not what I wanted. And what I really needed was a narrator, somebody who was close to Frida, who was with her almost all the time, and who loved her, but also was affected by her moods and her she was very manipulative by her manipulations. And Christina, her younger sisters, they were almost where they call themselves the twins because
Hmm.
she was only 11 months younger. Would have been that person. So, and the other good thing about Christina is that she didn't write anything, and she didn't
Right.
talk much. I mean, she didn't leave anything, so that's good for the
Hmm.
writer because the writer then can invent her because she didn't say anything. And Frida always said that Christina was dumb, but in the book, she's not dumb. She's very observant. Uh,
Hmm.
and so the idea is that Christina observes is uh, what is happening and what's happening to Frida and comments. But and I used a similar technique in Miss Del Rio with an unreliable narrator. Uh, a, 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 a person, in one case it's a sister, in another case it's a beautician, the stylist,
Hmm.
is Frida Mara's Lola's hair. Um, when you're doing biofiction, that is, you're writing fiction about a real person, my feeling is, and not all biofiction writers feel the same way, but my feeling is that you have to be really careful and
Right.
not try to play God with your characters, because you don't really know what they were thinking and feeling. You
Exactly.
you are observing them from a distance, and often a distance of many years, and a different culture and a different context and a different world.
Hmm.
And so you have to realize that you don't know everything. And the way that I have dealt with this is to invent a narrator who is not completely sure of her own narration. And so Christina will say about Frida, she'll say, uh, this is what she said. Uh, well, that's what I remember her saying, but I'm actually
Hmm.
maybe not sure that that's what she said, or that's what she meant, or I think that's what she meant, or I'm not quite sure. So that what that does is add a layer of subjectivity
Hmm.
to the narration, so that the reader knows that what he or she is reading is filtered through somebody's mind,
Hmm. Or
somebody else's vision,
point of view or something like that. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
or point of view, somebody's point of view. That I'm not pretending to be. I'm not pretending to be Frida, and I'm not pretending to be Lola. I'm observing these characters from a distance, and one of the things that I have learned to do when I'm writing these books is ask myself, what would be to know these characters? What would it be to live with somebody like Frida, somebody who, who has temper tantrums and who is so needy and who's always
Hmm.
wants to get, always has to have her own way, always has to be the center of attention. But at the same time, you know that deep down she loves you, and
Hmm.
so um, uh, Christina is very devoted to Frida. She was in real life very devoted to Frida.
Uh,
Um, at one point, she had an affair with Diego Rivera. Um, was this Christina's fault? Well, of course. I mean, she did it, so I guess it was her fault. But
hmm.
Diego was a man who was he was extremely ugly. Uh, if you saw the film, um, the the actor, Alfred Molina, I think, who played him, is much better looking than Diego Rivera. Diego Rivera himself was, he weighed
I can
300
imagine
pounds.
that.
He, he was, I mean, he was, and he was very, volatile. I mean, he would go into into somebody's house and he'd pull out his pistols and he'd start shooting it up, shooting up the walls. And I mean, or he'd have temper tantrums, and he was slept with every woman that he could get his hands on. I mean, I don't know how.
Oh my gosh. Oof. No,
Yeah,
no
so
wonder she got a little cycle that way too. And yes, and a bit more about Frida and Barbara Mujica in just 1 minute as well. You listen to Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Moses and Missing, the Sweet Songs by Serena Wagner, Base Life of Dave, including 30 Squids of Pains and Candy Up Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Song of Serena Wagner. We'll be back with award-winning author Barbara Mujica of Miss Del Rio and Frida and more after this time out.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey there, Dana Alexa here, American News anchor. Hey, let me ask you something real quick. Why do you read a book? You're buying a story, a thought, a message. And a good book entertains and inspires. And that's exactly what Missing by award-winning author Mian Zia does. I have his book right here. And it's based on real events with relatable characters that hook you from start to finish. I personally love this book. It's super powerful and meaningful. You can actually get it on Amazon right now.
The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Serena Wagner's book, The Sweet Psalmist, now available on Amazon. This book includes 30 exquisite paintings by well-known and unknown painters and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives us a new perspective on his life in this book. Through the Psalms he wrote, his time as a shepherd in the field is where the book starts, and it goes on to describe his complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul as well as other events. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. It also offers advice on approaching God and living a life that pleases him. Check out the book, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, now available on Amazon. Keywords, Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to the Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back to the amazing author Barbara Mujica here on the Mike Wagner Show. And now just a couple of things. What can we learn about Frida, and what can we learn about Miss Del Rio and more?
Well, I think what you about Frida is that she was a very, and about Dolores Del Rio also, is that they were very complex people. So Dolores Del Rio, for example, is known for being beautiful. She's known for being an actress. She went back to Mexico and she made very serious movies. I said that her movies in Los Angeles in Hollywood were trivial movies. But she really wanted to make serious movies. And in other countries, in Germany, the Soviet Union, and then in Mexico, in Italy, and France. But in Mexico, there was a new movement, a new cinematic movement to concentrate on socially relevant topics. And she wanted to be part of that. So when she got back to Mexico, Frida Kahlo introduced her to Emilio Fernandez, who was the up-and-coming director who was making this kind of movie, the kind of film that concentrated on problems such as income disparities, class distinctions, the exploitation of Indians, the exploitation of women, abandoned children, these prostitution, these kinds of really alcoholism, these kinds of really serious social issues. So not only was she able to act in Spanish, she was able to play roles that enabled her to really speak to the public and helped them and Mexico deal with the social problems that they were facing at the time. The other thing that I think is important to mention about Dolores Del Rio is that towards the end of her life, she started the first daycare system that had ever existed in Mexico.
Interesting.
She couldn't have children herself, but she loved children. And she realized that at the studios, there were many women who were doing menial jobs. They were janitors and cooks and seamstresses and cleaners, and they did the kinds of jobs that required them to be on their feet and to be there all day long. And they had children, and the problem was, what did they do with those children? Most of these women came from the countryside. When they lived in the countryside, they had families. They had mothers, they had sisters, aunts, cousins, godmothers. They had a network to help them take care of the children. But when they came to the city, if they had husbands, they didn't always have husbands, but if they did have husbands, they were out working in construction, the whole point of coming to the city was to find jobs, right? So
right,
So the men found jobs in road construction or building construction or some other job that took them away all day long, and the women had to work as well, and a lot of them found jobs in the studios or in theaters, but especially the movie industry was hiring a lot of women.
Hmm.
But there was no place to leave their kids, so they left them in what they called guarderías. Guardar in Spanish means to keep, and these were basically keeping places or
Ah,
holding
okay.
children. So you might have one adult who was not trained with a bunch of children, maybe 40, even 50 kids. Um, and they were just there. So there was just an adult there, but not trained and not able to really um,
Like no
nurture.
interaction, not able to handle emergency situations,
Right,
getting food, playtime, and all that. It was totally
right.
unstructured.
Yeah, and yeah, none of that. No instruction for sure. So Lola and Maria Felix, the other great Mexican actress of the time, reputedly deadly enemies, but in real life, close friends. Um, they got together, they raised the money to start this daycare system, not just a center, not just one, but a whole system of daycare centers. And Lola read Maria Montessori and Jean Piaget, and
Hmm.
she really took early childhood education very seriously, and
Hmm.
she hired real teachers, and she started these centers that were clean and with toys and books, and where the children were actually nurtured. And so that was something that was radically needed and never existed, never
Uh-huh.
existed until she did it. And so I think that just shows how complex she was a woman who wasn't just not she wasn't just a pretty face. She
Right. Uh-huh.
she wasn't just a movie star who spent all of her time looking in the mirror. She really wanted to do something for her country. She wanted to do something for other women, uh, and she did.
And made a big difference as well. In the meantime, where can we find Miss Del Rio and Frida and all your works at, Barbara?
So all of my books are on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, uh,
Okay.
or you can buy them directly from the publishers. Miss Del Rio came out from HarperCollins, uh, Graydon Press. Graydon Press is an imprint of HarperCollins, so on their website. But I think that if you just go on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, you can find any of these books.
And what's your website? How do people get a hold of you?
Okay, my website is www.barbaramujica, one word.com.
All right, we want everybody to check it out right now. He's amazing multi-talent Barbara Mujica of Miss Del Rio and Frida here on the Mike Wagner Show. Barbara, just a few more things. What else can we expect in 2026 and beyond?
Well, I'm working on two books now. One is a novel. I'm a little superstitious about novels, so I won't give you any details other than to say that
Uh-huh.
it's about another Mexican protagonist. Um, the other book is a scholarly book. I said I would never write another scholarly book, and I was done doing that. But there was a subject that was really kind of gnawing at me, and I wanted to do, and that is older women.
Oh.
If you look, so my field is early modern, which is 16th and 17th centuries, and if you look at how older women are depicted in 16th and 17th century Spanish literature,
Mm-hmm.
they are always depicted as old hags, gossips, bawds,
Mm-hmm.
uh, ugly old women who are trying to use all kinds of pomades and makeup to make themselves attractive to naive younger men, so that they can trap them and have these men take care of
Right, yes. And
them.
we're,
Okay.
and we're still looking forward to that as well. Who do you consider biggest influence in the career?
But I just want to say before that's the image. But what I have found in my research is that older women were not like that at all. And they were extremely active in all kinds of careers and making tremendous contributions to Spanish culture, the Spanish economy, the Spanish household. That's what I'm working on now.
And certainly amazing as well, too. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career, Barbara?
I would have to say Cervantes is the biggest influence in my writing. I've taught Don Quixote. Miguel de Cervantes is, I guess, the best known and most influential writer, Spanish writer of the early 17th century. Don Quixote came out in 1605, the first part, and then again in 1615, the second part. And as a writer, and a philosopher and a thinker, Cervantes has really had a tremendous influence on my approach to literature and I think my way of seeing the world.
Mm-hmm.
I taught Cervantes for decades in English and Spanish, on every level, on the graduate level, on the undergraduate level. I actually even went into an elementary school and taught a class on Don Quixote. Everybody at Georgetown said, "You can't do that. You can't teach Don Quixote to children." And I said, "But who understands fantasy better than children?" And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience.
Exactly. It sounds wonderful as well. I'm ready to read some. And what's the best advice you can give the AIM at this point?
Well, I would say for writers, what everybody says: keep writing, keep active. My advice to everybody: keep active, stay engaged, don't drop out. And I think at this time, we've got a lot of problems in the world. We've got a lot of chaos. And I hear people say all the time, I don't read the newspapers. I won't watch television. I won't engage with this. I don't want to know what's going on. I just don't want to know. But I think that's a very dangerous attitude to take. I think we need to stay engaged.
And I think that's so important as well. You're so right. Heard the multi-talented Barbara Mujica of Miss Del Rio and Frida and more here on the Mike Wagner Show. Barbara, very thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Glad to have you back. What's your website? How do people contact you? Bring people purchase or check out your books?
Okay, people. So they can check my website, www.barbaramujica.com. They can go on Amazon. They can go on Barnes and Noble. And they can look. Miss Del Rio has her own website. It's miss-del-rio.com. So www.miss-del-rio.com. And that has a lot of information about Dolores del Rio. It has pictures. It has information about events and readings and different things like that. And it also has an email address, so you can contact me.
All right, we'll certainly do that as well. Once again, Barbara, very thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love having you back. We wish you the best. And Barbara, you definitely have a great future to have you.
Thank you very much.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey there, Dana Alexa here, American News anchor. Hey, let me ask you something real quick. Why do you read a book? You're buying a story, a thought, a message. And a good book entertains and inspires. And that's exactly what Missing by award-winning author Mian Zia does. I have his book right here. And it's based on real events with relatable characters that hook you from start to finish. I personally love this book. It's super powerful and meaningful. You can actually get it on Amazon right now.
The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Serena Wagner's book, The Sweet Psalmist, now available on Amazon. This book includes 30 exquisite paintings by well-known and unknown painters and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives us a new perspective on his life in this book. Through the Psalms he wrote, his time as a shepherd in the field is where the book starts, and it goes on to describe his complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul as well as other events. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. It also offers advice on approaching God and living a life that pleases him. Check out the book, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, now available on Amazon. Keywords, Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.